Welcome back to another episode of Friday Flies with Flop. Today we are going to be spinning up a Walt's worm and drinking up some Suds. Stay tuned. Oh, shit. Hello, welcome to another episode of Friday Flies with Flop. As you heard, we are going to be spinning up a Walt's worm and another variation today, the blowtorch. Let's start it off with cracking some Suds. Let's get going. So the ugly Walt's worm today is going to be tied on a Firestone or Firehole 5/16 size 16 jig hook, and we're going to use a 2.8 or 3 millimeter slotted gold tungsten bead. Also, check out Root River Rod Company in Lanesboro, Minnesota. They are a full-service fly shop offering guiding, walk weight, and Western-style float trips. So let's get into this. Here we go. So we got our Firehole Outdoors jig hook with our tungsten bead, and we are going to use some UTC 70 in fluorescent orange thread today. So we're going to lock this bead in with some wraps. Want that to stay nice and high. Okay, and we're going to cut out our tag end. So we have some Hairline Velvet Chenille in fluorescent orange. And we are going to take a lighter and we're going to singe one end up. And then where it gets that little tag end, we're just going to cut that off. Alrighty. Next, we're going to measure out so that tag sits right in line with the end of the hook or so. About right there. We're going to lock it in with some thread wraps about to where the barb of the hook would start. We're just going to make sure that's on top, and we're going to trim out that excess. Okay, next we are going to tie in our gold wire in size small. I like to put the end right in the slot, and we'll just wrap backwards to right where our tie-in is. Okay, next we're going to take some of our Sempter Fly Chadwick 477 substitute. We're going to split that apart because there's 3 strands in there. So we're going to take 1 strand of that. And we're going to tie that in. Okay. Now we move our thread forward. Now we're just going to take some thread wraps to even out that taper, that's looking pretty good. And now I'm just going to wrap this Chadwick substitute. And then we're going to tie it off. And trim. Next, I am going to actually brush out a little bit of this Chadwick substitute, kind of make it a little buggier. Yeah, that's looking nice. And then we're just going to counter wrap. And this is a super easy fly. Whip out a bunch of them in no time. And you can do a couple variations. Instead of using gold wire, you can use like a pearl tinsel or like a sulky thread, and make a sexy waltz instead of ugly waltz. Okay, yeah, I got bad scissors, so we'll just trim that wire out. Okay, next we're gonna whip finish, and that's all there is to the ugly waltz. We want to make sure we got a nice hot spot collar right there. Looking, I don't know, looking all right. Trim out our tag. And there we have it. An ugly waltz. And now, for the second variation, we're going to tie up another one quick. So instead of the chenille for a tail, we're going to use orange floss. And instead of the gold wire for ribbing, we are going to use the pearl tinsel. Vivis pearl tinsel. Same thing, we're just going to start this bead with a little thread dam behind it, lock it in. There we go. Trim out our tag end. Okay, for a tail, we're going to use some Glow Bright floss in fluorescent orange. And we're going to take a strand and we're going to double it. And then we're going to double it again around our thread. So that way we have 4 pieces of floss hanging out. And we're just going to take that back to the bend of the hook and grab forward, and we're going to taper this a little bit. Okay, next we're going to use our pearl tinsel in small. And tie that in. And next, another piece of our Chadwick 477 sub. Okay, just gonna wrap the body up again. All the way to the bead. And trim out that tag end. Suppose we could, let's wait till the end. Next, I'm gonna grab that piece of sulky and start spiral wraps up. And lock that in. And trim that tag end out. Next, go with finish. 1, 4, 5. Trim out our thread. Now we're going to trim this tag. I'm going to rest my scissors against the back of the hook and just come down. And that creates just a little floss tag. And that is a Walt's worm blowtorch in the theme of like a Devin Olsen's. And so here we go. We have the Walt's worm. We got the ugly. We got the sexy blowtorch. We got an original. Here, let's just throw these in the vise. So we got an original. A sexy. An ugly. And then the blowtorch. And those are the variations that I like to tie up. You can switch out the colors. You can do different beads, threads, and tags. Pink is another one that's good. Purple. Yeah, and I hope you have a good Friday. Cheers.